let's take a look at some tips for removing. And when I say removing, I don't mean removing. I mean lessening wrinkles in skin, because we don't want to remove them. We don't want to make somebody that has wrinkles appear that they don't have wrinkles. We just want to lessen the impact of them. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's go over and grab our spot healing brush, and I'm going to make sure that the content aware option is turned on up top, as well as sample all layers. Okay, so just go to your top options bar, make sure those two are on. Next thing we're doing is going to create a new layer, because that's where we want all of our retouching to go on. You'll see why in just a second. And then I'm just going to zoom in right up here. Okay, so as far as the brush goes, I want the brush to be roughly just a little bit thicker than one of the wrinkles, just so that I don't have to be too precise as I click and drag along here. But you're just going to click and paint, okay? And with the content aware option on, it's going to do a pretty good job of keeping you from having to sample. If you did this with the healing brush, you'd have to sample, okay? But with the spot healing brush, we could just make long brush strokes. All right, so just like this. And let's kind of scoot onto the top here. And every once in a while, it'll put one right back where you put it. So just paint over it again. And it does a pretty good job. Okay, so if you ever do see a repeating pattern, which does happen sometimes with content aware, it's just because it's kind of looking at, it's what content aware is. It's looking at the area around whatever you're painting, and it's trying to be aware of all that. So, and then sometimes I might just scribble even some more if they really get to be kind of stubborn, like that one was. All right, and then we'll move over to this side here, and we'll just do one more quick swipe here. And I know it looks weird. Don't worry, we're not done. Okay, and we'll grab that one. All right, so we've done a pretty good job here. There's one more area, and that's going to be under his eye, because remember, we fixed the other eye. So I'm going to do a quick swipe here, and you're going to see what the problem is going to be. Because it's aware of the content that's around here, it's not going to work that great. Now, we could switch over to the healing brush, and we could sample from down here, but I really like the spot healing brush because it's quick to use, and I'll typically use it on just about everything. So I want to give you a tip that can help make it more usable. Okay, so what we need to do is let's go ahead and first off, we're going to add a layer mask to the background layer. So it's a background layer, so just double click on it and then click OK. So that turns it into a regular layer. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select around the area that I would want to use. And this is a little known tip with the content aware option that's in CS5. Okay, I'm going to select around the area that I might want to use. I'm going to come over here and click on the add layer mask icon. So now this is all we see. Then I'm going to click on the top layer again, because that's where we're doing our retouching, right? We're doing it all on this top layer. Grab my spot healing brush, and now I'm going to paint over all this. And see what it does? So see how it kept from using, it basically pulled the eyeball into it before, which is not what we wanted. So see how it kept from doing all that? That's because the content aware is now only aware of this specific area. And again, that's a little known tip with content aware, is that if you make a layer mask on the layer and then you start to paint with it, it's only going to use whatever is now revealed or whatever is now visible in the photo. It's not going to use all this other area where if I press the shift key and I click on that layer mask and I turn it off, it's not going to use that whole other area because it doesn't think it exists. So let's back out a little bit here. And well, let's back a little bit in. I want to see the wrinkles pretty good. Okay, so what we have now is we have really, really bad retouching. The way you make it better, reduce the opacity. Remember, all of this is on one layer. Okay, we did it all in one layer because we want to do exactly what we're going to do now. That is bring it all the way down to 0 and then start bringing it up. And when you hit somewhere around 30, 40%, you're going to be you're going to kind of be in that sweet spot. So take a look. Before, after. Maybe bring it up a little bit more, maybe 50%. But I don't know if I want to go too much higher than that. Again, before, after. The wrinkles aren't gone. They're not disappeared because that's going to look weird. It's going to look like we did something to the photo, and that's not what we want to do. We don't want to make the wrinkles disappear. All we want to do is just kind of lessen the impact of them. Okay, again, that's before, that's after, and all you can control it. If 40%, it might work for some. Some of them you might have to go as high as 60%. So it really depends, but you have that opacity slider. I always bring it down to 0. I bring it down to 0 first, and then I start bringing it back up until it still looks natural, where if I get too high with it, you can see it starts to look a little bit weird. Okay, so don't forget, that's the one. Content aware works great. It's an awesome tool. When you combine it with the spot healing brush, you make your work a lot faster because you don't have to keep sampling from different areas of skin and everything like that, which is what you'd have to do with the healing brush. The only little catch to content aware is that it is aware of everything that's around your image. So by adding that layer mask, you make it only aware of what you want. And then when you're done, just shift click the layer mask, because that hides it and that lets you see the rest of the layer that you were working with.